The headquarters of Veritas Consulting, a large advertising agency. Two men have a conversation on the rooftop. They are discussing their job, mentioning such topics as creative planning and innovative ideas. They actually come to the conclusion that it depends. But most clients don't need something unique. They want to devise a plan that's tried and true with a few tweaks to make it less boring. One of them says that, in fact, clients hate when you get too creative. He knows this since this isn't his first rodeo. The other guy thought something wasn't right with these words. He wonders if his partner is all right. He supposes that Director Choi rakes him over the coals again. The man sighs. He admits it's true. The director did this throughout the entire meeting to boot. The other guy claims he doesn't get it. The man in front of him screwed their competitors over and brought in a big project. He thought the man deserves to be promoted to team leader this time. The man had the same thoughts, obviously. He admits that it's been 2 weeks since Mr. Kim, who led planning team number 2, resigned due to health issues. So he has been hammering away behind the scenes to fill the gap. So it would be logical to have a promotion. But he wasn't promoted. It needs to be said that the man and Director Choi get along pretty well. So it's not because of the director's attitude towards the man. After all, he keeps bringing the clients consistently, which made him a well-liked team player. So there is no reason for Choi to dislike him. The worker claims that most industries that work people to the bone are like this. Every proposal you prepare ends up being run-of-the-mill. The only thing you can count on is high-quality data, insider information. Even if people talk crap about him, he can laugh it off because his win rate is much higher than theirs. Or so he thought. Unfortunately, one of his ideas faced harsh criticism. CEO's idea was claimed lacking the ingenious factor. Instead, Jin's idea was considered superior. Of course, CEO's hopes were shattered by those words. SEO asks his colleague if the idea was really bad, but the guy tells him it's not like him to sulk about it. He says that Jin is just good at touching people's hearts, and that brand wanted to play up the whole man's first love theme. Meanwhile, CEO struggles every time the concept's about love. No wonder his idea was declined. Fact. However, it didn't get Seo any better. Seo says he has seen some romantic movies lately, but the guy just laughs. He claims that movies won't work. He suggests the man to focus on things he is good at and let the others do things he can't. Besides, a playboy like him won't be able to master the emotions of the first love. Someone called him a playboy. This surprises the man pretty much. Seo says that Kim made a mistake. He isn't a playboy. The man shows him his hand with a ring. Seo claims he only has his eyes for his dear Sojung. Kim looks at Seo with a question. He wonders if Seo is embarrassed since he says something so cheesy. The man asks if Kim feels the same way, being newlywed and all. Kim says that the man is right. He suggests Seo go ahead and use that as material. Seo lowered his eyes. He claims it's not easy being this way. His feelings aren't pure, fuzzy, and warm, but serious and intense. The man wishes to know if it's his fault he doesn't fit the current trend. He starts speaking about his dear love and how her name makes his heart shine. Kim was absolutely not interested in listening to Seo's love. He looks at his watch and claims he must go because it's time for his meeting. Kim says he will be heading down first. SEO asks him to wait, but the guy tells him that he will give him a few records of romantic movies. Kim's departure surprised Seo, but after a while he smiled. The man was heading to the fence. He was alone now, so he could use this time to be in silence for a while. Maybe a little rest is what he really needed. Seo looked at the sky, wondering if it could bring him some answers. Seo looks at his ring. The man wonders if he should have made up a partner from the start. He claims it's much more convenient this way. Wow, that's unexpected for sure. Seo repeats learned lines about his partner. They are planning to get married, but don't plan to have kids. But he forgot about Sojung's last name. He wonders if it's Kim or Choi. Hansung Construction is a solid mid-sized construction company that made headlines after acquiring a failed resort on Jeju Island. After a year of remodeling, the premium Helio Resort was ready to reopen. And Hansung bet a large sum of money in order to advertise its rebirth. If rebirthing went well, the contract would be converted into a long-term agreement with plans to produce an entire series of ads. Upon hearing this, planning team number 2 worked overtime for several weeks to prepare their competitive presentation. Seo is doing some preparations. The man stands in front of the mirror rehearsing some Q&A. Finally, the preparation is over. It is time for the real meeting at Hansung headquarters. He has to win this for his company, Veritas. Despite such a big burden, Seo was confident. The man admits it's because he did a lot of preps. Seo enters the hall and sees a person in the chair. Suddenly, someone tells him that he knows that he has a lot of grievances. Aha, it's the director. He's talking through headphones. Very smart, I must say. Mr. Kim says that his feedback about the executive review was pretty harsh, but Seo says it's not a grievance. In fact, he appreciates Kim's time. Kim claims he is just looking out for Seo's best interests. He asks him to hang in there a little longer, and the director calls Seo the perfect man to lead the group. Seo gulps. He claims that he is just a mere manager who isn't qualified to lead a whole team. Kim says that a job title doesn't matter. The main thing is Seo's abilities. He suggests the man prove his skills and then he will get a promotion. The director wishes him luck and says he will contact Seo after the presentation. The person in front of the man wonders if he feels all right. Seo says he is fine, asking what happened. The person claims that Seo's smile is making him nervous. The man assures him that it is all fine and they head forward. When on the presentation, the man assumes that things are looking up today as the director himself mentioned the word promotion. Besides, he and the account manager for Hansung go to the same driving range. Finally, he believes it was worth squeezing in the little time he had to practice. The speaker appreciates everyone who came here. But before Jin starts his consulting's proposal, the man in glasses emphasizes how much effort Hansung put into preparing the resort for reopening. When he was talking about the business effort, the door cracked. Someone was late apparently. Seo wasn't glad about it. The man admits that it doesn't matter how important the meeting is, one person always shows up late. The man in glasses wondered how this person came here. The newcomer asked if he is allowed to be here. Fortunately for him, he was allowed to enter the room. The point is, the speaker was surprised to see this person here since he thought he will have an external meeting today. The man who had just come in told him that the meeting was canceled. Therefore, he would like to know if they can make room for one more. The people in the room start worrying and whispering. The man considered their demeanor fun. He smiles and claims that they shouldn't be so tense. After all, he didn't ask for a difficult favor. One of them stands up. He offers his own chair for this man. Seo frowns. He admits that based on everyone's reaction, this man must be at the executive level. But what kind of executive shows up without notice? The man with unconfirmed status slowly approaches the chair. He walks like a king, with grace and pride. This demeanor bothered Seo. And when the man had the opportunity to have a better view of this mysterious man, he panicked. Things were absolutely looking up today. Until now, I guess. When the man sat, he wondered about the current topic. The speaker tells him that Seo Yuhuan from Jin Consulting was just about to begin his presentation. After hearing the name of the man in the company, this mysterious visitor took a brief pause. He took a closer look at Seo. He asks the speaker if he heard him right, and the man who was about to start his presentation is Seo Juhuan. The man in the glasses replied positively. Despite the positive reply, Seo wasn't in the best mood. His arms were shaking. The speaker then introduces the man who has just entered a few minutes ago. This is the man in charge of Hansung Resort's marketing, Lee Si-hyun. Seo smiled in order to not show his fear. But in his thoughts, he admits that this is the sound of the afterlife calling his name. So who exactly is Lee Si-hyun? Well, in order to answer the question, we must look at the darkest period of Seo's life. The man was trying to avoid military service. It was urgent, so he tried to find any information on the internet. The answer upset Seo. Someone told him to go into the army eventually because reunification won't happen before he completes his service. But the main reason he didn't want to go into the army was very private. Seo afraid that his secret may be discovered. Besides, it will be hard for him to keep hiding his preferences in a place crowded with men. He doubts it will be a peaceful time in his life. What if he makes a mistake? Seo plops on the bed, claiming he doesn't want to go to the army. Eventually, he hadn't found a way to avoid military service. Luckily for the man, time passed without incident. So much so that his concerns about misunderstanding and prejudices became meaningless. This isn't to say that he had reached nirvana and learned to control his urges. It was just that every soldier looked like a potato that had been harvested years ago. So when the bus with rookies came, Seo was wondering what's the next potato on the menu. But the next potato was amazing. I guess so, since Seo's facial expression changes instantly after he sees him. Yes, this rookie was Lee. SEO claims Lee's a sight for a sore eye. If a kid like him started doing commercials, he wouldn't even need to try to sell it. His face would do all the work. Such a true. A charmer like Lee is really rare. However, he's not guaranteed to join Seo's platoon. Anyway, Seo concluded he needed to replenish his eyes while he could. Then a roll call started. The rookie called his name, Lee Si-hyun. Seo was shocked to discover that this rookie is his junior. The officer told Lee not to fool around and listen to his senior. Lee agreed. The officer wondered why Ju-hwan was sitting on the bed. He told him to introduce himself to Lee. The officer asks Ju-hwan to teach the rookie well, and if Lee screws up, it's Seo's fault. As Lee's senior, it's Seo's responsibility to shape him into a fine soldier. Private Ju-hwan peeked at Lee. He admitted that it's going to be a hard task since he's barely managing to keep himself under control. And now they team him up with a fine-looking rookie. What a mess. In the end, he failed to help Lee Si-hyun get used to barracks life. How can you help someone adjust if they don't need help adjusting? He never asked again after being taught once. And after about 2 months, Lee already resembled a seasoned soldier. He even had the brawl to back up his brain. And then there was Seo, who was probably more beast than man at this point. The man had a strange dream. He woke up instantly, looking around. His body sprung, and then he cooled down after discovering that it is all fine here. The man went to the bathroom to wash up. He was confused, wondering where did that dream even come from. This has ever happened before. After Ju-hwan had this dream, rumors that he despised Lee Si-hyun began to spread. It was only natural, given that the kind and gentle private would express his discomfort whenever Lee Si-hyun was around. Present time. SEO has a conversation with his boss. The director wonders why the man supposes the proposal will fail eventually. Ju-hwan claims that the storyboard doesn't elicit the best response. Director Chio yelled at Ju-hwan. He couldn't believe that the man worked his tails off for weeks only to get looks of disapproval. It just wasn't possible. The director asked if Seo didn't just fumble the presentation. Chio told him to report back to the office right now to explain himself. The member of his team asked if the man feels all right. He claims that it was pretty harsh of Choi. Besides, it wasn't even Seo's fault. Then the same man claimed that their team lead was pretty young. He assumed that only a hard-to-please guy like him could become an executive at his age. The second member of the group doubted it. According to his point of view, there was another reason for it. The man wondered if the reason was the lead's outstanding ability. But the second guy doubted it. He claims it's something better. Warm heart, maybe? No, the second guy says that it's not some sort of after-school special. He is obviously talking about Lee's background. Lee was born with a golden spoon, nepotism at its finest. Seo sighed. He heard the whole conversation and obviously didn't agree with them. He claims that unlike Lee's siblings, who studied business abroad and became executives at headquarters, Si-hyun, the family's youngest son, lived quietly before appearing like a thief in the night. When director Lee revealed he was there, Seo could have died on the spot. The man was thinking why such a rich jerk like Lee was being so honest and not trying to dodge the draft. He always sees rich folks using some backdoor plot on TV. SEO clenches his fist. He assumes that if Lee is the man in charge, there is no way Seo's company will get the contract. The reason is Lee's hate towards SEO. If Seo had a time machine, he would go back in time and tell the younger version of himself to buy Lee some ice cream from the commissary. Yup, that would be the right thing to do instead of being awkward. Ah, the dreams. It would be a great superpower to alter reality by your thoughts. He sighs while looking at the sky. The view of blue above him always relaxes Seo. He claims that there is no point in tirelessly drinking and golfing. After all, he lost a big catch years ago. But what can he say? What goes around comes around. He will have to start planning for the next project. The man greets Seo. He calls him the dear manager. Yes, in fact, he praised Seo. It startled the man very much. The director says that Ju-hwan did a great job and made Choi criticize him for no reason. He claims that the man can be less humble at times. Seo wondered what the hell happened to director Choi. Choi says that Seo won the project bid. The man couldn't believe the director's words. Won? How was this possible? The man started to celebrate. He assumed that Lee had finally grown up, the prick who punched his senior in putting his company's interest ahead of his personal vendetta. Then, Director Choi mentioned that there is also some fine print. Choi tells Ju-hwan that while settling the contract, a few conditions were added. First, the existing draft's proposal has been completely scrapped. And to ensure the ad's quality, they want them to stay at their resort and participate in the final stages of development. That's how the man reacted. Ju-hwan asks if they don't know their hands are full. It's like they want to put everyone in a tight spot. The director says he couldn't agree more, but claims it didn't seem like they had a choice. Besides, the director informed Seo with good news. Revenues increased since they were first notified. In addition, depending on their performance, there could be a huge bonus. Bonus? Then Seo assumes he has to give them what they want. Besides, if he rearranges his schedule a bit, it might not be impossible. And the last thing about the contract. Choi asks Seo don't take this the wrong way. But since Ju-hwan's proposal was dropped, he suggests leaving the planning to Team 3. It's because Seo's team is busy enough as it is. The man was absolutely not glad to hear that. The fact that Director Choi handed over Seo's big team win to another team. This director is such a moron. Seo says he can try to schedule the business trip around available. Director Choi asked him to stop. He asks Seo not to act like someone is taking credit for his work. He claims this is a shame if it's Seo's main concern. Then he mentions what Hansung requested for the new proposal. It's something a bit more original. They felt the current draft was way too simplistic. They want it to be more romantic, to highlight their unique selling point. The director claims he didn't want to have to say this, but he asks if Seo is really sure he can handle the work. He reminds him that such a romantic topic is his weak point. True. Then Chio called Team 3. He asked how their schedules looked. Choi said that a few of them can accompany Deputy Manager Jin. After a while, Seo's team was on the rooftop talking about Choi's decision. One of them wasn't satisfied that their hard work was spoon-fed to some other team. Seo had a smoke. A guy from the team called the heavens for help. He said that time is night for his mediation. The other team member yelled at him, claiming that Park's prayer won't help to fix their situation. Park has to learn how to read the room. Park claims he doesn't mean that. The man tells them he was talking about liquor. He thought they could go for drinks after work, given what happened. SEO claims Park is right. Since they are all down in the dumps, they can have dinner on the company's dime. The man apologizes about the proposal. He claims he did his best, but Director Choi wouldn't budge. He assures them it won't happen again. Team member asked Ju-hwan not to be sorry. She claims the man worked the hardest out of all of them, and it probably pains him the most to lose this project. Then she wondered what's up with Team 3. She says that Mr. Jin was on his high horse all day, and the woman was just about ready to fight him. Seo wondered what Jin said. The woman says Jin was talking as if they would take over because their team was incapable. Park interrupts their conversation, wondering where they are going for dinner today. Seo assumes they should go to Izakaya across the street. When they had Park's welcoming party. It's the place that sells skewers and draft beer. Park would definitely be glad to go there. The other guy, Jin Young, says this place is mid. They don't even sell tanghulu. The guy claims he read a book to prepare for this exact scenario. Then Seo wondered where Jin Young would like to go. He wishes to know if there is a restaurant that sells that tang frulu or whatever. The guy says it's tanghulu. And there is a spot with a fire dessert menu. He asks if they would like to go there. Then he looks at the phone. After a few seconds, he asks the others to never mind his words. Jin Young says he remembered he had a family dinner that night. He apologizes and says he is bail. Seo and the other team members nod. The young worker tells them his dad will be picking him after work. Due to this fact, he asks Seo if he can clock out 10 minutes earlier. Just this time. The man was searching for an izakaya. He didn't know this restaurant was so mediocre. He supposes he should ask Jin Young for recommendations. Trying new things is a way to gain customer insight too. Soon after, Director Choi called Seo. He asked why Seo didn't tell him this earlier. Tell what? I bet it was as surprising for Seo as it is surprising for me. The director says he wished to know earlier that Yu Hwan and Hansing Resort's general manager are close friends. Close friends? What a news! The man wondered if he just misheard the words mortal enemies. Choi says that Lee Si-hyun signed a contract with them because he believed in Seo's strategic mind, and Lee was disappointed to learn that someone else has been assigned to lead the project. Lee even said he would pull out of the contract if Seo wasn't in charge. Director Choi says he lost much sweat trying to appease Lee. The man wondered if he heard everything right. He didn't understand a single word Director Choi was saying. There was absolutely no reason for Lee to pick him. Lee Si-hyun's office. The man receives a call. It was Seo. He told Lee he would like to thank him for accepting their offer. Lee says his name is Lee Si-hyun, so there is no need for Seo to call him Mr. General Manager. The man says he's aware of whom he is talking to, which is exactly why he doesn't understand. SEO supposes Lee may be a Nippo baby, but he is still in charge of Helio Resort's marketing. Why is he on the phone with Seo when he should be busy with the upcoming grand reopening? Seo wonders who he should contact for future business discussion. Lee claims Seo should contact him, obviously. They will be working together after all. Lee Si-hyun hangs out the phone, leaving Seo completely dazed. A few seconds later, the man receives a message which informs him that he should check his inbox. The man checked his inbox. He was shocked by what he saw there. Lee asked him about some crazy conditions. Make it natural yet elegant, classic yet modern, humble yet confident, hip yet practical. Seo claims Lee is crazy. It almost looks like he asks Seo to turn the water into a wine. What's even worse, Lee asks Seo to get it to him by 10 a.m. The man claims it's a nut job. It seems that the entire universe is telling him he is completely doomed. The man has successfully done the job. He arrived at the office and showed the results to Lee. But he claims that there is no oomph to this whatsoever. The man claims Lee is right, but he should take a look at the strategic intent written there as well. Si-hyun says that the viewers won't be reading Seo's plan while watching the ad. Lee scrolls through the papers. He claims it needs to catch their interest right away. Seo admits that the advertised is God, and his only role is to serve them. He must obey Lee Si-hyun, who now sits upon the holy throne. The man says he will modify the plan to give it more oomph. Lee Si-hyun kept sipping his drink. Seo was staring at his boss. He admits Lee aged like a fine wine. He is like a Munch painting, a famous work of art you wouldn't want to hang in your living room, because it will make you delirious. Suddenly, Si-hyun supposes they should cancel the contract. Ju-hwan smiled. He admits he isn't new to this pussyfooting game. He can tell empty words from the real ones. The man says that Lee shouldn't worry since he will toss this plan and come up with something much better. Si-hyun seemed pretty serious, though. His straight stare scared Seo. He wondered if Lee was serious. If he is, this is ridiculous since it's their first meeting. Lee says that is their first meeting indeed. But he wonders if the man heard the words. Well begun is a half done. SEO says that this is exactly what's going on. They are practically halfway through the deal. Lee tells him that he feels like he has already lost half of his wager, so he offers to call it off before the ad goes into production. The man was frustrated. He admits Lee is a mere tightwad who shouldn't have accepted the contract in the first place. But then Lee shocks him even more. The general manager claims he was joking. Si-hyun says there is no way he would decline the contract after contracts long been signed. He says he can't believe Seo fell for it. Sneaky bastard. He pushes Seo over the edge, and all he says is that he can't believe Seo fell for it. Lee watches Seo closely. He says the man should put his poker face back since his anger starts showing. The man did a great effort to suppress the anger and hide it behind the smile. He says that he just felt Lee took it a little bit too far. Si-hyun says that it looks like it is Seo who took it too far. General manager caught Seo's hand. Looking at Seo's watch and ring, Lee concludes that the man lives pretty well, it seems. He looked closer at the ring. Lee smirked and asked if Ju-hwan took it on for him to see. Seo panicked. He claimed this guy was looking for any reason to get on his case. He wonders how his life is going on. The man tries to come up with an excuse, but Lee told him that they probably should stop this trivial talk. Seo pulls his hand out of the grip. Lee supposes they should just call it a day. He also believes Seo will be prepared with more important things to discuss next time. After the conversation, Seo took a brief pause. He did the thing that always helped him, looked at the sky. Seo wondered how his life ended up like this. The man tried to figure out some problems he couldn't control. First, his attraction to men. Well, considering it's not his choice, it passes, as well as his dream. After all, you cannot control your dreams. After the dream, Seo felt guilty and gave Lee cold shoulders. He can swear that at the time, Lee felt like an excavator that had come to demolish his life. Besides, he didn't treat him badly. He was just cold to Lee. And if only Lee knew what kind of dream he had, Si-hyun would avoid Seo first. In the end, Ju-hwan concludes none of those are really pricking his conscience. If only it weren't for that Sergeant Kim. Yes, that's right. Everything went to catastrophe after Sergeant Kim was dumped by his girlfriend. Not long after his ex posted a photo of her new boyfriend on social media. And the fact that he was a total pretty boy sparked chaos. From that day forward, the pretty Lee Si-hyun, who happened to be there, became the sergeant's scapegoat. At first, he would simply pick on him. However, Lee Si-hyun wasn't the type to quietly take bullying from his seniors. Lee squeezed his fist as he wasn't intended to take bullying. Ju-hwan yelled at Lee. He called Si-hyun a little punk who reporting his senior officer. Sergeant Kim was surprised to see such behavior. Kim wonders why Seo yells at Junior like that. Ju-hwan says he is just teaching a kid a lesson for a sergeant since he is nearing the end of his service. Therefore, Kim ought to be more careful. SEO says a single punch on the button can easily kill a man. Sergeant Kim appreciated Seo's action, but he says he didn't ask for help. Seo admits that if someone who's never raised their hand misses just right, it could lead to serious trouble. SEO apologizes. The sergeant claims it's good he understood all right. Ju-hwan admits the sergeant must be psyched that he is playing a bad guy in his place. After that, Seo pretended to give Lee a hard time until the Sergeant Kim was released. Ju-hwan never bothered explaining himself to Lee because he hadn't openly helped. He just assumed they would awkwardly spend the rest of their army days together before being discharged. But then, one of Ju-hwan's juniors tells him that his girlfriend is here, all the way out of the boondocks. So the younger guy was wondering what to do. SEO gave him permission to hang out with the girlfriend since it's his night out. He wished Young Il good luck and came back safe. The guy thanks Seo for the decision. But what he should do with Young Il friend Lee Si-hyun? He admits this is awkward. SEO tells Lee he should be going out and back on his own. He hopes Lee will have some fun. Si-hyun unexpectedly wondered if Seo was going to drink. The man says that drinking alone would make him look like some sad, lonely loser. Lee says Seo won't be alone. Seo looked at Si-hyun with a surprise. He wondered who the man in front of him was and what he did with the real Lee Si-hyun. Ju-hwan says that he can't do it. He claims it's straight to playing some league or champions for him. SEO tells Lee his diamond promo matches are waiting. Lee said Seo must be kidding. He turns around and sighs. This frustrates Ju-hwan. He asked if Lee sighed just now. The junior told Ju-hwan to forget about it. He rushed forward and grabbed Lee's arm. Si-hyun looked at Seo. Ju-hwan claims that if he is going to be miserable all alone, why don't Lee join him in the internet cafe? This is the breaking point that Seo wished never happened. If Seo had left Lee alone, he wouldn't have learned that he is actually a human. Ju-hwan wondered why he was even worried about that baby-faced brat. They wouldn't have bought drinks and snacks, and checked into motel together. And above all, he wouldn't have been beaten by his junior. So let's go back to the present time. He wonders how he is supposed to fix the whole problem. The man wondered if this situation was even fixable. He starts to feel like the only solution is to factory reset. Then he receives messages from Lee Si-hyun. The general manager asked him to unblock his number because it's getting inconvenient. The man texts that Lee isn't blocking. If he is blocked, then how the hell he can text him in the first place? To be honest, Seo himself forgot about when he blocked Lee. The man checks his blacklist and sees Lee's number there. So he really did block Si-hyun. He supposes he must have been out of anger after getting beaten to a pulp. Ju-hwan calls Lee. He tells the general manager that he wanted to speak with Lee over the phone, given their deep-rooted feud. Si-hyun wondered what number he should dial to hear more. Seo responds that Si-hyun should press 1. CEO says that the whole thing with number blocking is just a misunderstanding. Si-hyun claims he wasn't aware the man hates him that much. The man says that he actually wanted to make it clear that he has never hated him. Si-hyun claims it doesn't appear so since Seo cut him off after what happened. Ju-hwan says it was only because he felt sorry. Lee asks if it's true. Of course it wasn't true. Seo didn't say this, but really he was thinking if Lee was sorry for the junior who punched him. Besides, Ju-won admits that if he had a big heart, he wouldn't have blocked Lee's number in the first place. Si-hyun wondered if Seo was calling to say that he was sorry and had been reflecting a lot lately. Seo claims Lee just read his mind. There is one more thing Seo wanted to tell Lee. The general manager wonders what it is this time. He asks Si-hyun to go ahead before he gets irritated. He says that, frankly, he had a good time. Besides, it was the first time they had opened up to each other. And since they are both here, he wonders if Lee feels the same. In his mind, Seo wants Lee to think about it wisely and remember that he wasn't even disciplined for hitting his senior. Lee replies that Seo must have had the wrong impression. He assures the man that he has no hard feelings towards him. In fact, he has no feelings at all. But Ju-won admits that despite these words, Lee's voice says otherwise. The man is wondering how much younger Lee Si-hyun is. He admits it will be hard to calculate his junior's ages since he postponed his enlistment. The man says that it's upsetting to hear that Lee hasn't any feelings. He says he likes him and he regrets how he expressed himself in the past. Seo claims his immaturity was the main cause of all that. Then Seo goes farther and suggests Lee go have a drink together and talk face to face. He claims they turned in too early last time, and it's a shame. Lee was quiet. This made Seo worry. These words confused Lee. He tells Seo that he wasn't born yesterday and can actually do everything very well. Seo was scared. He failed, but why? Why such a bad reaction? After all, Seo did everything to raise Lee's support rank. Ju-hwan claims he doesn't mean anything bad. He says it was his fault for asking out of the blue. And he obviously doesn't mean to burden him. I was too late, though. Lee hangs off the phone. Seo claims that if you have roughed up your senior, you should know how to move on like a man. Besides, he doesn't recall that his job descriptions include keeping the advertiser happy. In the end, the man claims he is running on fumes here. Seo messages Park. He claims he's going to go to church. He explains that he has something he needs to go to confess for. The man leans down on the chair and claims he is tired. This is all because of all those weird dreams. When he first dreamed about Lee Si-hyun, he thought that abstinence must be getting to him. But he dismissed it. He felt like he had outgrown everything. Now it just bothers him a bit, and that's it. The man is thinking about Lee. If seeing that man in military uniform used to excite him, wouldn't it be strange if seeing him in a suit? And the fact is, Lee can turn on anyone. The only thing Seo wishes for is dreams to stop there. But they continue the next day, and the next day. He wonders why this keeps happening. Maybe it's because he is pent up? Suddenly, the man receives a message from his teammate, Lim Yoon-hee. She texted that 30-years-old virgins can turn into wizards. The man asked her to double-check the recipient's name before sending a message. But she says the message was for him. The woman reminds him of a 30-year anniversary project for Madaria's red pepper bulgogi burger. So Jin Young proposed a magical girl concept and mentioned the whole wizard thing when presenting his winged red pepper mascot. Then Mr. Choi lost his cool and asked if Jin Young had gone crazy. Then she also texted that there is something else she would like to tell him. The man took his phone and called Lim. He wondered if she was free this evening, and it seems that she is free. And they both found a nice place to talk and eat. Lim claims she used to love her job. The woman looks around and notices the poster on the wall. She points at it and says that it is the ad she prouds the most. The man wonders if the advertiser suddenly turned down all the models and requested a national taekwondo athlete. Lim replies that he said something about wanting an authentic image that professional models don't have. She claims it was just a bunch of nonsense. And then the athlete said he didn't want to be in a freaking ad. The woman almost lost her mind being the middleman. The man wonders if her hard work paid off well. He heard that the commercial was well received. She says the man is right. It was an uphill battle, but she managed to pull through. She has only been able to put up with her job because seeing an ad she planned to go out into the world gave her a sense of achievement. But she doesn't know anymore. She no longer feels accomplished, just burned out. The guy is thinking if he is also burned out. Or maybe he was just an empty shell to begin with. They keep drinking. Lim tells Seo she made up her mind. The man wonders what she means. But he says it's not wise to make such a hasty decision, though. The woman claims she has thought about it long and hard, and this is the only way she can take care of herself. Seo claims he understands how she feels because he feels the same. But with the economic downturn and all, things are really tough over there. He suggests she take a few more days before her decision, but the woman says she has decided to start dating. He asked if he heard her right just now. She springs and claims she said she is going to start dating. It is time to get her love life together. Besides, there is no better way to gain customer insight than to date around. Lima says she thinks her life became this dry after she was dumped while working overtime on her anniversary. She also says that the younger guys are the worst. She's only dating older men from now on. Juhuan claims dating is good. Finding a partner could be a great solution. He promises to see if he has any nice single friends. Cheers to that. Seo takes taxi. Suddenly, the driver tells Juwan that his phone keeps ringing. Taxi driver claims Seo's phone has been vibrating for quite some time. The man looks at his jacket. His phone is in the pocket. It was Lee. The man was surprised. Si-hyun hasn't contacted him in a while and now he is calling this late? Strange. The man puts headphones on and picks up the phone. Lee asked if Seo is all right. Seo responds that Si-hyun is absolutely right and the full moon is quite beautiful. He asked if Lee had seen it himself. Si-hyun wondered if this is Seo's way of complaining about the late-night call. Seo says he just wants to know what he needs at this hour. Lee says he just saw Juhwan's email and wanted to confirm something. He asks if it was that obvious that he wanted to hear from Lee. Si-hyun wondered if this was true. The man confirmed. He said that he hasn't heard much from him lately. Lee asked if it was true. Seo confirmed he has been eagerly waiting. But then Lee asked what Seo really wanted from him. Looks like the driver pulled the brakes and the car suddenly stopped. Unfortunately, this caused an unpleasant incident, hitting Seo's forehead, and ruining his dream as well. Lee repeated that as Seo asked him what he wanted. The man admits that judging by Lee's reaction, he is guessing Lee wasn't impressed with the revised love and romance-themed proposal. The man supposed he should probably explain why he took the direction he did, but his head really hurts, so that won't be such an easy task. The man looks at his ring. He rolls it around his finger, wondering if that's the human's nature. Instead of being grateful for having a safe shelter, they just get tired of it. Juhwan admits it's like a staycation. You want to escape your dreamed home and immerse yourself in a new environment. Romance awaits you outside of the cradle. The idyllic paradise you'd forgotten about. Your long-desired fantasy. Helio Resort. Not bad. Besides, the ocean view also fits well with the romance brief. Lee says he gets the point and wonders if this is all Seo wanted to say. Si-hyun says about a brief dalliance. Seo realizes this is it. Dalliance. That's the word. It could work. The man claims Lee catches up quickly. The man asks Si-hyun to wait. He claims the general manager might have the wrong idea because of the words double entendre. But a midsummer night dream is romantic because it's a fleeting dalliance, isn't it? And who knows? Perhaps the love is also this. Lee tells Seo he will say something one last time, so the man must listen carefully. Love and romance. Lee has no intentions of wasting his time on such petty inanities. Then the general manager hung up. Seo was frustrated. He said that love and romance were their concept from the very beginning. That petty stuff is what Lee wanted the ad to highlight. The man sighs. He was tired. SEO was wondering what exactly Lee wants from him. Wherever he does, it's always not like this and not like that. The overflowing anger makes him tipsy. Kind of. He covers his face to get himself together. Will he finally lost his mind? He recalls Lee's voice. Strangely, rolling Lee's voice in his head helped him a lot. All the bad thoughts left his head. Looks like Lee's voice has a significant influence on him. Not to mention he is the only guy Seo is talking to so often. Besides, the man admits he lives quite a closed-off life. Then the man supposes he can live a little bit more liberated life. SEO takes his phone and searches for a date. Scrolling through his phone, Seo recalls Lee's words. Si-hyun claimed that Seo is too by the book. By the book? Huh. SEO finally stops giving a care. He presses the screen and looks at his dating options. He was dazed lately, but fortunately, the voice of his colleague snapped him back to reality. Lima was calling for Seo, wondering why he behaved so strangely. The man was looking for some coffee. He greeted the woman. Lima wonders how the man had aged 5 years in one night. She assumed he had a terrible night. Seo smiled cutely. He was looking for a mate last night. Some guys seemed broke to him. The others looked pathetic. Some of them were quite slim and had a good body. But he was looking for someone special. Someone who would be classy, but not too nerdy. The type of guy who feels the need to flex. Maybe someone with a bit of temper. In the end, he had another dream. But it was out of the world. Seo claims he is fine. Lima looks at him with suspicion. She supposed he shouldn't have given her a ride last night. The man asks her not to sweat it. He tells Lima that if she ever has a hard time again, she should let him know. Seo just asks her not to start with. There is something I would like to talk to you, like she did yesterday. The woman says she just wanted to be frank with him. Seo appreciates her willing, but asks her not to scare him like that again. Then the man receives the message that changed everything. It was a message from Kim Ji-won. Kim texted that the manager for the Helio Resort project has changed. So now Ji-won will be in charge of marketing moving forward. Suddenly, the man received a call from the boss, Choi. Seo wondered what the problem was in the first place. Choi says that Hansung has stated that they will cancel the business trip and cut the agency fee. He wanted an explanation from Seo. Seo tosses tomato juice's packaging into a basket. He asks if Hansung is reducing marketing spend just because the business trip has been canceled. But that doesn't even matter where they plan the ad. Here, the resort is all the same. Choi yells at the man, claiming that there is no way they will agree to the fee cut, so Seo had better find some ways to fix this. He tells Seo to go straight to Hansung headquarters and twist their arms. Or he could get down on his knees and beg. The director doesn't care. He tries to contact Lee, but the voice says that the number is not available. It seems Si-hyun blocked the man. He tries another number. Maybe he didn't block Seo on this. Seo texts Lee. He wonders if he's available today because he wants to discuss something in person. The man enters the elevator. He texts Lee that he is on his way and will be in a few minutes. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. Finally, he was able to contact Lee. Si-hyun picked up the phone. Seo wondered if the manager was okay and made it to work safely since the roads were frozen. Lee responds that he, of course, is okay, otherwise they wouldn't talk right now. He asks Seo to come to the place faster. The man admits Lo has got one heck of an attitude. If he spoke half as sweetly as he looked, Seo would take him under his wing. The man informs Lee that the main reason he is calling is because the business resort was canceled. He asked if it was Hansung's idea to include the business trip into a contract. Lee says that the reason is very simple. He just doesn't like the idea of having to travel with other people. Seo claims that the trip is already included in the contract. So Lee cannot change the agreement. Lee says that everyone will benefit from this since there is no work to do now. Then Seo mentions the agency fee. Lee says that since the work will be reduced, that implies an agency fee. It's a given. Besides, they were quite generous with the initial fee. The manager asked Ju-hwan not to be greedy here. What he has paid them is double the industry average. Seo asks Lee if they can talk face-to-face. Si-hyun says it won't make any difference. The man confesses to Lee that he has absolutely nothing. He doesn't have his own house, own car. Everything is on loan. Si-hyun says he's getting bored. Seo says he doesn't want Lee to feel pity for him. In fact, he has the upper hand. People like Seo have nothing to lose. Lee doesn't really get what Seo was trying to say. The man claims he will visit Lee at Hansung Construction every day to demonstrate his sincerity. Lee hoped it was a joke. He claimed he doesn't need Seo's sincerity. The man tells him that Lee won't be saying this once he realizes how sincere Seo really is. Ju-hwan smiles and informs Lee that he will see him at Hansung Construction starting tomorrow. The first day of work at Hansung Construction. The receptionist asks if the sir is sure that he informed Mr. Lee beforehand. She claims that Lee doesn't have anything scheduled. How unfortunate. Seo says it is strange. He can swear he has an appointment. He asks the woman if she wouldn't mind if he waits down here for a moment. She says that there is nothing wrong with it and offers Seo a chair. SEO asks her if it's all right to help visitors like him. The receptionist tells him that it's not protocol, but some folks will often wait if necessary. SEO says he understands. He explains he is just worrying he will get her in trouble. It seems Seo and the receptionist, whose name is Soo Young, get along quite well. They were sitting there and sharing some stories, and then someone noticed them. By his squeezed fist, I would say he was rather unsatisfied about what he saw. Suddenly, the man heard a familiar but enraged voice. The voice asked what Seo is doing here. It was Lee, obviously. Si-hyun looked at Seo with rage. When the man saw Lee, he smiled. SEO asked if it is lunchtime already. The man wondered if the guy wanted to have lunch together. But Lee's expression was more than informative. So Seo assumes he takes it as no. But the man wondered about afterward. He claims that if Lee could just give him 10 minutes of his time, then he can walk off some of his lunch. Lee turns around and leaves. SEO then says that if the guy is busy, then 5 minutes will suffice. The second day, it seems Seo is unsatisfied about what he sees. The man asks a coworker about what this thing is. Unfortunately, he was also not sure what that was. He claims he was only asked to show Seo this seat. SEO considered this as Lee's demand for the man to stop running the vibe at the front desk, and instead waste time holed up in a corner that no one can see. If that is the case, then he is going to show Lee that he is the force to be reckoned with. Bombing Lee with text messages was Seo's biggest asset. He warned Si-hyun not to forget him. He will always be right here, waiting for Lee in the corner he has tucked him into. Seo messages he is having kimchi stew for lunch. Lee didn't reply, but he at least read the message. Then he admits some of his observations. On the third and fourth days, team number 3 handled the resort's marketing. SEO learned that senior manager Kang is the most meticulous member of their team. And regarding the business trip, he was only told that they would be staying at a Jeju Island resort for a month. No further information was provided. On the 5th day, Seo gathered everyone in the office. He claims that he will be taking Team 3's coffee orders as thanks for their hard work. The man was so good at it that he knew exactly what type of coffee everyone liked. Well, almost everyone. You see, one of the guys asked Seo if he knows his favorite coffee. SEO laughs and tells him he doesn't, because if he would remember a low-ranking male coworker's coffee orders, his head would blow. The coworker claimed it was mean. He says he likes iced Americano. SEO winks and tells him to hurry up and get promoted. Once he's a senior manager, Seo will know his go-to by heart. So the order was 5 iced Americanos and 1 iced latte. Of course, he didn't forget about text bombing. He took out his phone and texted Lee asking if he drank his coffee. The man feels he has only ever seen him drink sparkling juice. Whatever Lee's favorite drink, I guess he enjoyed drinking it. And now it is the 6th day. The 6th evening. Going back home, Seo admits he can't believe he just worked overtime on his overtime. He was so tired that he didn't feel hungry. Someone texted Seo. He was wondering who that was. Surprisingly, it was Lee. The manager asked if Seo is done working already. Huh? What happened to him so suddenly? The man taps that he just got off from OT. He complains that he had to go around all day and hadn't even eaten. Lee shocked Seo with his reply. The manager wondered why Seo skipped his meal since he is the one telling Lee to eat all the time. Is Lee worrying about him? But why so suddenly? The man claims it's the first time. The man texts that he knows that. And while the topic is working, he offers Lee to have lunch tomorrow. No response. The man hides the phone and heads forward. He supposes he will get takeout for dinner. On one of the days, Seo came to the office casually and tossed his case on the table. He takes off his jacket, wondering how long it has been since he started working here. Maybe a week? Suddenly someone calls him. It was his coworker. She looked concerned. The woman asked Seo if he got into trouble. Strange question. The man wonders where this is coming from. He assures her that there is no reason for him to get himself into trouble at someone else's workplace. She responded that this is not someone else's workplace. The coworker reminded him that he actually works here. And she asks Seo not to draw a line after being here for a whole week. That will make her sad. That's right. But he has yet to develop a sense of team spirit. Maybe it's because he is temp. Anyway, the woman informed him that the team leader asked Seo to meet with him in his office right away. She supposes the man knows the reason. The man is thinking about the reason. Maybe it's because his eviction order will finally be issued today. But the most realistic option is that the team leader will tell him to forget about that. As much as he doesn't want to go there, Seo assumes he must go there anyway. Thaman wondered if he could go to the office right now. The woman confirmed this and offered to show the way. Seo stopped her and thanked, but claimed he knows where the office is, so she can go back to what she was doing. He claims she's got a lot on her plate. The man headed to the office. The woman watched him and she was confused. Now, after that conversation, she started to wonder if Seo actually works here. The man opens the door and walks into the office. He greets Lee, but the manager started with a question. He asked Seo how long he is going to stage his little sit-in. Seo smiled. He wondered if this is really the first thing Lee says when he sees him. Seo has a seat. He claims that he knows he has been a little out of line, but that's why he has been sitting quietly at the desk he assigned him. Lee doesn't agree that Seo was quiet. After all, if the man hadn't been so quiet, he would probably have his own marketing team business card. The man is adaptable. Lee gives him that. Seo smiles and claims he gets that a lot. So Lee wonders why Seo is hanging around his workplace. The man twitched. He admits Lee is getting way too cheeky. Ju-hwan settles down. He calmly claims that he would like them to continue in accordance with the existing contract. The manager thought they were doing it right now. Lee thought they left everything to Seo. The man says that without a fee cut and with Veritas on the business trip as originally planned. These words made Lee twitch. Seo admits that the look on his face definitely screams rejection. Seo receives a phone call. It was the account manager for B Group. Lee asked Seo to answer it, but the man hung up. He claims he needs to exit the room. Lee allowed him to receive the call right here. Seo admits it is strange, but he answers the call in the office. The man asks the manager what took him so long. Then he says that his schedules are a bit tight, but he would be glad to make time. Besides, he can't say no to him. Lee was listening to the conversation closely. His eyes expressed suspicion. Seo was talking about the manager's incredible technique and the fact he just doesn't play anywhere. Then Lee smirked. The man appreciated the opportunity to visit an elite members-only club. Lee emits some sinister aura. Seo apologizes and says that he is in the middle of an important meeting. He says he will call back later. The man sits in the chair. He apologizes for making Lee wait. He claims that he appreciates his understanding. Si-hyun claims he heard Seo's specialty was networking, but he never imagined it would go this far. He claims he is impressed. The man claims he is quite impressive in this regard. Seo claims it's better to be good at something than to be completely incompetent. The man admits it's definitely better than a nepo baby like Lee, at least. Lee claims Seo has to be confident to live that way. Seo wonders if Lee is not interested in this sort of thing. If he's not familiar with that, Seo assures him he would be happy to teach him. Lee claims he always wondered why everyone fell on his feet. But he gets it now. It's because he is not picky about who he lets in. Who knew Seo had such a strong stomach? The man claims that if he was picky, he would starve to death. Lee says that from what he has seen, he doubts Seo will ever go hungry. Seo smiled and thanked Lee. Lee claims he is wondering now just how well Seo would look after him. The man didn't fully understand that statement. Lee says they will stick with the original contract, but only on the condition that Seo disregard everyone except Lee for the time being. The man hoped Lee was kidding. Lee asked if the man was not fond of the idea. Seo says that's not it. So they will continue with the original contract. Lee asks him not to leave his stipulation. That's the most important part. Lee claims he wants Seo to focus on him and only him. What? Lee claims Seo is slower at calculations than he expected. He wonders what else there is to be assessed. The man blushes. Lee mentions that he thought Seo said he was good. Seo doesn't understand him. Si-hyun reminds him of the recent conversation. Seo said he will teach him if Lee is unfamiliar. Or the man was simply talking a big game?